Homeowners associations get a bad rap, and in most cases, rightfully so. G'day there guys, this is your main man Markee, and welcome back to another episode of r/AmITheA. Now if you hate homeowners associations, I want you to smack that like button, especially if that like button is giving you a $25 parking ticket for parking on your own property. Go and give that parking ticket / the like button a piece of your mind. Now with that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie, and get ready for today's bloody good content. Let's go. Posted by user Rover247. Titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay an HOA ticket while cat sitting? So a friend asked me to watch her cat for her while she was on vacation. When I went over to feed the cat, I parked in the driveway, fed the cat, and left. One day, I went to feed the cat and there was a $25 ticket on my car for parking in the driveway. It was from the HOA, not the police or the parking enforcement. There was nothing illegal about where I parked, nor have I ever been told not to park in a driveway by anyone. So I ignored it. The HOA is now pursuing her for the ticket since their authority only extends to their members. She sent them my info and I flat out told them to take a hike. I'm not paying a fine, and if they don't like it, sue me. She's upset with me and demanding I pay since she will have to pay the fine. If she had told me her HOA does stuff like that, and that I need to park on a guest spot instead, I would have. But I don't feel obliged to pay a fine for made-up rules that I was never told about. The law in my state is pretty clear. The HOA has no right to fine me, but their members can be held responsible for the violations of guests. So basically you think that you're an a-hole here because you refuse to pay the parking ticket for an entity that will pursue someone other than yourself for the fine. In my opinion, she should have told you about that, like you continue to say. Feel like that's kind of your friend's fault here? Maybe that's an a-hole thing to say, maybe that's like not socially acceptable to just put out there. But in all reality, to me, HOAs are lower than dirt, and I refuse to ever enter into one. So I guess the petty me is gonna say, it's your friend's fault, she should have told you. She should have known the rules in the HOA so that these things didn't happen. In all actuality, it's actually her fault that you got that fine, so she's going to have to deal with it. Yes, the friendlier and easiest thing to do in this situation would be to pay that $25, but you don't have to, and I think morally, you can get off with this one scot-free for not doing that. Though I'm not sure how that friendship will pan out afterwards. That may be bad advice, who knows? But for this one, not the a-hole. Now in the comments, Fire LaCroix says, not the a-hole. If there was a parking rule that she knew about, it's up to her to tell you. Now, if she had told you about the parking rule and you had intentionally violated it, then sure, you should pay. But you were doing her a favor, and apparently broke a rule that you didn't even know existed. That isn't your fault. Let's hope the friendship doesn't end over $25. Yup, not the a-hole. Homeowner definitely knows what her HOA is up to, but too docile or timid to stand up and tell them to F off. Maybe this is an opportunity to step up and deal some justice from an oppressive and clearly targeted harassment by their HOA. HOAs suck, but honestly, OP should just ignore and block the HOA and encourage the friend to figure her own stuff out. I think waging a war with a friend's HOA would be a really good way to lose that friend. Piggybacking this comment to ask, what the mother F is wrong with you Yanks? You give a random group of people from your neighborhood the legal right to fine you over things like having a guest park in your own driveway. Not only that, you can lose your home over this crap. Idiocracy. I personally hate HOAs, and I would wager most do as well. Just to explain the logic of it though, it's supposed to keep the property values in the neighborhood up because everybody's house should look perfect, and no noisy neighbors and all of that. I've never lived in an HOA, and I never plan to either. Not the a-hole. If she lives in an area that strict, she absolutely should have told you the rules. That's on her. Also, if she can afford to go away on vacation, she can pay a $25 ticket. I'd be flat out embarrassed to demand that of a friend, especially one that was doing me a favor and taking care of my pet. Yes, exactly. $25 is a steal for a pet sitter. And not the a-hole. She should have been clear with you on where to park and that the HOA tickets you if you park in the wrong place. The fact that she didn't automatically makes her responsible for the ticket. I don't understand how she feels justified essentially asking a friend to pay for watching her cat. What do you guys think? I love the subreddit Just No HOA, or I guess screw the HOA, F the HOA. I have to censor it because YouTube doesn't like the F word. And I don't like the HOAs in this world. So I would love to know your experiences down below. Thank you. Our next post is by user Quarter Pincher, titled, "Am I the a-hole for paying for a stack of books with a single quarter at a pay what you want sale?" So in my small city, there's a comic book shop that's having a pay what you want book sale, where you can get whatever you want for however much you feel like paying. They had a lot of cool stuff, so I took some books and went up to the storefront. I told the owner there were some great books and asked if there was a minimum that he wanted me to pay. He said no, just get rid of this. And so for the stack, I paid like $2.50. I went the next week, got another stack, and paid with a quarter. He joked that, you got all that stuff and you thought that it was worth a quarter? So I laughed and moved on. I come in this week and have yet another stack with $2 worth of quarters in my pocket. Some friends of the store owner have also been milling around and decided to buy some books. I look around a little bit more while they're checking out. One of them says, "I'll pay $1 to make up for that guy who only paid with a quarter. That's screwed up." And my face flushed red. After they left, I said to make up for paying with just the quarter last time, I'll pay with $6 for the books. The owner had not recognized me, laughed, and said that he understood why I did it and felt conflicted, etc., etc. He was very nice about the whole thing, and again reiterated there was no minimum. I told this story to some friends of mine, and they said that I was obnoxious for paying with just a quarter, and that with what I did, I should expect some flack. Honestly, I don't think I agree. He said there wasn't a minimum, and I paid what I wanted. But I wanted some more perspectives. So, am I the a-hole? As much as I want to say, no, rules are rules, you know? You can get away with this stuff. That's just stupid. He shouldn't say that if he didn't want you to pay anything, quote unquote. But I really feel like there's unspoken societal niceties that you're kind of ignoring here. And those people called you up on those. Everyone's thinking it, no one wants to say it. Someone spoke up and now you feel bad. And I think you should feel bad for that. Just because you can pay 25 cents for a bunch of books, it's rude. It's rude to do that. You're best paying up and making up a socially acceptable amount of money for the books and for whatever else you had bought in the past as back pay. I don't even feel like that's petty. I don't feel like that's ridiculous. I feel like that's a way to show common decency, to show that you're sorry for being rude, and I think that it's a good step forward to mending bridges. So, unfortunately, you're the a-hole, but I see that you do have good in you. Edit? Well then, I guess the judgment is pretty one-sided towards a-hole already lol. And honestly, after reading the replies and thinking about what I did, I agree. It was pretty disrespectful, and considering just how tough it is for comic book shops and used bookstores already, I took advantage of their kindness, unwitting or not. When I go back next time, as one commenter suggested, I will pay a fairer price. Edit 2. I'm not making this edit to change judgment, but based on the comments, there seems to have been miscommunication on my part about what the content of the sale was. I'm sorry. They are a bunch of old, used science fiction fantasy books that he has had in storage since about the 80s from a bookstore that he used to own at the time. He has apparently thousands of them. For example, Frederick Pohl, Gene Wolfe, etc. Not old comic books. Thank you all for the lively discussion, by the way. Now in the comments, I used to be on fire says, "You're the a-hole. While it is technically pay what you like, so there can't be a minimum, it's basic courtesy to not pay literally less than pocket change for a lot of stuff. This is one of those cases where legally, you're right, but morally, come on man. Shopkeeper is a small business owner, and human too. It couldn't hurt to pay $1 or $2 more on what's already a really generous sale and deal. I'd say it's basic courtesy not to pay literally less than pocket change for pretty much anything. The only thing a quarter has ever been good for in the last 20 years is buying a loose cigarette. You can't even buy a stamp with a quarter. If you're taking something, you ought to pay in kind with more money than buys a quarter handful of runts and a candy vending machine. Especially if you're planning on returning again to a place that you assumedly would like to keep the lights on. You're the a-hole. You're the type of person that ruins a good thing for everyone. So true, like, come on, OP. Just because he said there was a minimum doesn't mean you can be a dick. The way I read it, the shop owner even politely tried to call him out on it by saying you got all of that and thought it was worth a quarter? Our next post is by user trying to help Am I the A-hole? Titled, Am I the a-hole for moving back out after my parents demanded I follow their rules? So I, 22 male, just finished college and went back to my hometown while I figure out what I want to do next. I was planning to share an apartment with my old friends, but my parents wanted me to move in to help them out. The pandemic has hit them hard, and they're struggling to pay their bills, so they wanted me to move in and pay rent. I said okay because I wanted to help them out. It all went well until 3 days after I moved in. My mother came in around 9 p.m. saying that I had enough screen time and needed to go to bed. I thought this was ridiculous because I'm an adult paying rent. They have no right to demand this. She said, you're living under my roof, I make the rules. So I went along with it for the night, and the next morning I went and took my laptop back from their room. She proceeded to ground me for disobeying her authority. I've had enough of this, so I called the people I was going to room with and asked if they still had a spot. They said yes, so I packed up and moved in with them. Now my family is hounding me for not supporting my family. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. Because my parents are struggling financially because I left, so I'm starting to feel guilty. I can understand that you would feel guilty about your parents' inability to cope financially. At the end of the day, that's not your fault. You did offer a solution. They punished you as a result of it. And I'm gonna guess, reading between the lines here, there was a discussion and they weren't lenient with those rules. It may seem that they're disillusioned and they still think that you're 10 years old. And in that case, morally and whatever legally, I guess as well, I'm gonna say that you're in the right here. If they are so backed up against the wall and they need that rent money, they should be begging at your feet to have you come back and be like, hey, whoa, we screwed up here, we're not going to do this again. But perhaps you leaving is the shove they need to find a better solution to their financial worries, and not rely on you to pay rent just to keep them afloat. It sucks that these things do happen, but that's just real life. Unfortunately, that is real life. They're gonna have to deal with those consequences, not the a-hole OP. Now in the comments, your little birdie says, not the a-hole. Grounding a 22-year-old man and taking away his computer is totally ridiculous, even if you didn't pay rent, which you do. You tried to help them out, they treated it like they were doing you a favor. Go, 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 and don't look back. Bingo. The very idea is preposterous. If they want support, they should have extended respect. Hounding you for not supporting your family? Don't bloody think so. You tried. It sounds like your mom is pushy and abusive. I'm glad you left, especially as quick as you did. Not the a-hole. Too funny. Tell them to take an ad for a tenant and to make sure to put in the ad that they'll be controlling that tenant's screen and bedtime and must obey all house rules or else be grounded. Not the a-hole. That's what kills me. I bet they wouldn't pull any of this crap with a stranger, but pull it with OP because he's their little boy. Screw him. Just like my parents, they'll never see their adult child as a real person worthy of respect. I hope OP gets to where I am, completely free of them so you can tell them to F off and engage with them on their own terms. And Remember Coombe Valley says, not the a-hole. Lois McMaster Bujold has a quote about adulthood that I like. Quote, adulthood isn't an award they'll give you for being a good child. You can waste years trying to get someone to give that respect to you, as though it were a sort of promotion or raise in pay. If only you do enough. If only you're good enough. No. You have to just take it. Give it to yourself, I suppose. Say, "I'm sorry you feel like that," and then walk away. But that's hard. End quote. They can't have you as an adult and have you as a child at the same time. At 22, parental authority should be taking an advisor role, not a dominator one. A lot of parents find this transition difficult, though frankly they should have started working on it years ago. But it being difficult for them is their problem, not yours. You're not causing fights, you are not straining against their rules, you're just refusing to be put into a position where you have to submit. That is reasonable, mature behavior. Our next post is by user Third World 3, titled, "Am I the A-hole? Parents are taking my sister shopping instead of attending my graduation, and I got mad at them." So I'm 18 female. I'm graduating on Friday evening. It's an online pre-recorded video, but it's better than what last year's got, and I really got excited about it because I managed to stay in school for the full 5 years, and I've kept on top of my work for the most part. My sister is 14 female. We are polar opposites. The best way I can describe how different we are is in terms of clothing style because that's what's relevant. She's currently wearing a women's best set with a Nike hoodie and about 3 pounds of makeup and orange fake tan. I'm wearing a pair of Dickies, a vest top and a cardigan that I found in my nana's wardrobe, and I'm not orange or plastered in makeup. She's a lot higher maintenance clothes and beauty-wise, and normally it doesn't bother me. Recently, a clothing retailer here opened up and is taking shopping appointments. That's how desperately some people want clothes. My sister is one of those people. So my stepdad booked an appointment and got one for Friday evening, and it overlaps with my graduation video. I was thinking it was fine, and they'd probably just not go, since it was important to me to have family at the one normal-ish thing that I've had in well over a year. I was wrong. They're still going. I got really angry last night when they told me. I said a lot of nasty things. One included calling my sister a knacker and a chav. That K-word is used to look down on Irish travellers in Ireland, by the way. No one is talking to me at the moment. They think I'm overreacting and that I'm an asshole for blowing up like this, since all of my sister's clothes have come from online since December, and she hasn't gotten to see anything in person. Am I the a-hole? And edit, since people are saying why can't we just watch it later, we're not allowed to save it. I'm not sure what platform it's being shown on yet, but it's a pre-recorded video that's only from 7 to 8 on Friday. Can't save it due to minor safety, and if I were to show it later, it would mean being so focused on sitting with my phone in my hand recording to make sure that it's in frame that I wouldn't get to watch it myself. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. I did get really angry, and I called my sister a lot of things that I shouldn't have when it's just a stupid graduation and she needs some new clothes. To be fair to you, OP, I've been to Penny's. I don't think it's that great of a retailer, I'm not gonna lie. No offense to you Irish people in the chat, but Penny's ain't that great. I've been to Walmart too. I wouldn't book an appointment for Walmart just to go clothes shopping, not gonna lie. Neither would I for Penny's. So back to OP, I can see where your frustration is coming from on this one. Because if you have a graduation that can only be seen from 7 to 8, I would be angry too. I'd be like, why are you gonna go to Penny's? And I make the assumption it's Penny's because that's what's been plastered all over Facebook for me. Why are you going to Penny's instead of, spending an hour watching my graduation that I've been working 5 years for, you disrespectful asshole family? Now, where I turn this on you, you don't just call her a knacker and a chav for that. Yeah, maybe she has a different clothing style to you, but that's just nasty. She didn't personally attack you or anything. She just disrespected you by not going to watch your graduation ceremony with you. You could have reacted by, discussing this with your parents, not personally attacking your sister. Your parents are also going with her. This is their fault too. They should know better than to book that appointment. I want to say that you're also a justified a-hole in this regard. I would probably yell the same at them because I'd be like, Jesus Christ, screw you guys. You can't spare 1 hour on a Friday to come watch my graduation. I'm gonna let loose hell on you. So from the bottom of my heart, OP, I feel for you, and I hope you gracefully accept this everyone sucks here judgment. Also realize that there is screen recording software that you can record that graduation with, or you can just get a tripod and record it from the outside and have a very stable video of it with your iPhone. You don't have to be barbaric and hold your phone in front of your face the whole time. So there's my judgment, everyone sucks here. Now in the comments, A. Halstead says, everyone sucks here. Your parents suck for not caring to attend an event that is meaningful to you. You suck for the way you talk about and to your little sister. And the fact that you continue to assign blame to her in the comments for your family's decision. She's 14. She can tell them she wants to go shopping. It's their job as parents to say no if there's something else that's more important. As an aside, since you spent a significant portion of your post on this, your sister does not suck for liking makeup, wanting to go shopping, being high maintenance, or for asking to go buy clothes with an appointment that your dad booked for her. And you don't get a prize for wearing your nana's sweater and foregoing makeup. Come on, dude. Take this up with your parents. They're the issues here. That's clearly misogyny, and yes, coming from a girl too. It's very sexist to try and act like you're better because you don't do girly things. And I don't do makeup or care much about my looks, but this doesn't mean that I'm better than those who do it. Also, yeah, she's 14. Why do you talk to her like that, OP? Everyone sucks here except your sister. Your parents don't care about you, but you blame your little sister? Wake up. I disagree on the grounds that the sister is also an a-hole. She clearly cares more about shopping than her siblings' graduation. She could have declined to go shopping. She could have asked the parents for a different appointment time. She's 14. She's old enough to show empathy. She's old enough to stand up to her parents' decisions. She has a mind of her own, and it thinks about clothes instead of family. American Girl says, not the a-hole for expecting your parents to put your graduation ahead of unnecessary shopping. Their priorities are not in order. However, you're the a-hole for your immaturity regarding your sister's taste in clothing. She's 14. She wants to be outrageous. So what? You are coming off like a shallow snob. Is the sister the OP's half-sister, I wonder? That could be where all the resentment is coming from if the sister is the favorite. Ding ding ding. OP said that's exactly the case. OP is the mum's kid and the younger sister is both parents. They basically treat OP like a second-class citizen. From further context, it appears that OP is the Cinderella sister to her half-sister, who gets the bulk of the attention and permission to do a lot of things that OP isn't allowed to do, such as going out and seeing friends. The parents have created this resentment by favoring one daughter and being wildly unfair. Per OP, the sister can bring 8 of her friends around, and OP can't bring over any. I don't blame OP for exploding after the parents created this adversarial dynamic by giving one daughter everything and the other one nothing. Well, I wish I had this information when I was going to do my replies there. This makes a lot more sense why OP is attacking them. This makes a lot more sense as to why the parents are not coming to the graduation. I dare even say I changed my opinion to not the a-hole based on just how little these parents care about OP. God damn, I would hate to have parents like that. Our next post is by user DeVille1954, titled, Am I the a-hole for wanting to watch my grandbaby at my house? So my daughter-in-law recently had a baby. This is her and my son's first baby. Before the baby was even born, I told them that I would start taking every Monday off to watch the baby for them. I really wanted to be involved in my grandbaby's lives. They were happy and grateful because they wouldn't have to get a sitter when they worked. They said they would take me up on it. When my granddaughter was 3 months old, my daughter-in-law went back to work on Monday, so all of this started. I started watching the baby for 5 hours on Mondays, sometimes a little less depending on the schedule. Before they had mentioned casually they would be most comfortable with the watching the baby at their house. Of course, they are the parents and that is what they wanted. Probably because my son works from home and would be able to see the baby in between his work, and they also have the baby on a down-to-the-hour nap routine. But I kind of hinted directly to see if they had changed their minds, and asked, What things at my house does the baby need? To see what they would say. It was at this point that my son said pretty directly that they would prefer for me to watch the baby at their house initially, so I said that would be fine. I don't know what the exact reasons were, or if this was coming from my daughter-in-law mainly. I let my daughter-in-law know that I would be totally happy to drive and pick the baby up in the morning and take the baby to my house so she didn't have to deal with doing that before work, just in case that was one of her issues for her. One of her work locations is in the opposite direction. It's only a 15 to 20 minute drive for me, so about 40 minutes round trip if I did that. She didn't really say much back, so I assumed she would just stick with the plan of me watching the baby at their house. Now we've been doing this for a month, and I really would like to just watch the baby at my house. My grandbaby is now 4 months old. I decided to hint to her again when I saw them last week. I said, "You know, John, my husband/baby's grandpa, always asks me how things go when I'm at your house on Mondays. It seems like he would really like to be involved with watching the baby at our house." My daughter-in-law basically just said, "Aw, that's sweet," and changed the subject. I'm thinking about asking her directly because I don't understand what the problem with me watching my granddaughter at my house would be. Not sure if she's worried about the baby being driven, if she doesn't trust the dogs at my house, or the other family members who are in and out of our home. I'm just not sure. I overheard my daughter-in-law telling my son that she felt like I was trying to manipulate them or guilt-trip them about this. I guess I technically was, but I don't get why I don't just watch the baby at my house. Am I the a-hole for pushing this? Should I just let it go and not ask or hint again? She's obviously trying to not burn bridges here because she needs that babysitting and it's a tough subject. If she said out loud that you were trying to manipulate them and you say, "I guess I technically am trying to manipulate them," why are you now questioning, "Damn, why won't they just let me watch the baby at my house?" I'm really struggling to understand the mental gymnastics here. You are given the reason that they don't want them at your house. You're given a solid reason. You even acknowledge that reason. You say, "Maybe I am manipulative." Oh God, it just doesn't make any sense though. How are you still confused? They obviously don't want the daughter over at your house. And I guess it kind of sucks by them that they're not going to confront you head on and give you a real reason about it because you're not going to take it well by the sounds of it. Then you're probably going to be like, "I'm just not going to babysit at all then if I can't have my way. Screw you guys, I'm going home." And guess what? That's manipulative. Read between the lines here and understand they're not comfortable with the baby being at your house. It's okay for them to deny that this is their baby. You coming over to look after the baby is a huge favor to them. I understand and I respect that. But at the end of the day, who looks after their baby and where that baby is looked after is completely up to them. You need to respect that decision and not go out of your way to push this. That's so disrespectful. So I'm gonna have to go with you're the a-hole for this one. Now in the comments, For Real Maybe says, "You're the a-hole." It sounds like they have pretty clearly set out the terms they are comfortable with, and you need to either accept them or decide you aren't willing to continue. You could also raise the issue directly if you really want to, but without being argumentative or resentful. I can certainly understand why they are more comfortable with their child being in their own home, with his own parents' selected gear, and with a parent nearby in case of questions and issues. I can also understand why they might be reluctant to have him at your place, especially with dogs and other people coming and going. Hoppity Hoppity replies to that, "I had to sit and wonder if OP is my mother-in-law. The jury is still out. If it is, well, OP, I'm not surprised. My mother-in-law stomped off after a few weeks of coming over 1 to 2 times a week for about 6 hours. She felt micromanaged because my newborn was not all fun and games, and I had a list I expected her to follow? The audacity! I cheered inside when she got fed up with not being allowed to run amok with my baby. She couldn't get the baby down for a nap, to take a bottle, and wouldn't even put a coat on her to go out in the cold. So hell no, she was not going to be permitted to take my baby away where she had zero supervision. Ultimately, this nuked our relationship, and that will have an impact on how much she sees this baby, because we don't feel it's a safe or convenient option. And I don't need her pushing boundaries because she's helping us. Spoiler alert, she's not. Is that what you want, OP? Because that's where you're headed. And here's the reason why I wanted the baby watched at my house, since OP seems clueless. The baby things are there. Packing up a baby's things for the day takes extra time, and unpacking and cleaning, and then I'm sure you're making noise about keeping things at your house. It's really just extra time I don't have. Not to mention the inevitable snide comments about overpacking. The baby is most comfortable at home. Her crib is there, her toys are there, everything is optimized at home. Why rip her away from that? She's a brand new baby. Her needs and comfort are the priority here. Why are you so hell-bent on watching the baby at your home? It's 5 hours once a week. So your comfort trumps the baby's comfort? Wow. The dogs too. Are you someone that says, oh, my dog would never hurt a baby? Every dog has the capacity to hurt a baby in different circumstances, and that makes me really concerned about the level of supervision. Further, I would bet that you have made incessant comments like, well, I did that this way when my son was a baby, and pushed back on your daughter-in-law's schedule and guidelines because you must know better, even though it's been decades since you raised a kid. Things have changed. You're not the parent here. That leads me to this. Your son and daughter-in-law probably don't trust you. You want to watch the baby away from his and her most comfortable place, where they have a familiar face, their dad, present, where it's easiest and safest. Because, why? So you can indulge your ego and grandma knows best mentality? That's not what a trustworthy person does. Do they have to worry that you won't follow the baby's schedule, use safe sleep practices, properly handle milk, ensure the baby gets enough sleep, all because you know better? Then on top of this, you are shamelessly guilt-tripping both of them. I'm sure daughter-in-law is adjusting to work life after having a baby, and it is hard. She's having to manage these whiny comments on top of that, because you are villainizing her. You know, because it couldn't possibly be your precious son putting the kibosh on anything. And really, just being annoying AF. You're also very possibly driving a wedge between your son and daughter-in-law, really heading into just no mother-in-law territory here. Grow up, OP. You volunteered, and I'm sure you were pushy about that too, to insert yourself into their work week. If you actually want to be helpful, shut the hell up with this and be helpful. If you can't, at least quit making things harder and get the hell out. Clearly, I'm still pissed off about the situation. You're the a-hole. If it's my mother-in-law, good luck making any sort of inroads with me now. Edit to add, my grandmother watches the baby a lot. She drives almost 90 minutes to do so, doesn't give me unsolicited advice or passive-aggressively make comments, loves my list, logs sleep and food, and doesn't push the baby or us into anything we're not comfortable with. As a result, the baby is super comfortable with her. We do handoffs with her midway now to save her the drive, and so she watches the baby at her house sometimes, and is doing her second sleepover this weekend. That's how you do it, OP. Wow, that was a long slapdown, but can't say I disagree with anything there. That was solid, hoppity hoppity. Thank you for that. What do you guys reckon? That was quite something. Hope you guys have a good day, by the way. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. Friendly reminder that I'm now posting daily on my second channel, Markee 2. If you want to laugh at memes with me, link is down in the description below. On phone, you just click that little arrow underneath the video. I also want to say thank you to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. Your names are currently floating down the screen here, and I love to see all of you guys. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it. If you see yourself on screen, I want you to give yourself a big pat on the back for being amazing as always, and thank you for supporting me again. I do hope that you guys have a good day, night, sleep, whatever it is you're up to. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.